My name is Carina and welcome to the Carina Chronicles. Today I'm going to show you which books I am planning on reading in October. And there are some very highly anticipated books in here. I predict to have quite some 5-star ratings this month, so I can't wait to actually show you what my plans are. So I'm usually not a big mood reader. So it is October, everyone is doing all these Halloween reads and I'm just like, I want to read whatever comes next on my list. I don't know, I just get a lot of joy from following a list and knowing that I can anticipate a read from far ahead, that I can be like, okay, but in 5 books I'm going to read that one that I highly anticipate. I don't know, I know it's weird, but I just get a lot of joy out of that. And to have found a collection of books that are, well, I would say 3 out of 5 are actually very good. Well, 3 out of 6. 4 out of 6. 4 out of 6 are actually pretty good Halloween vibey, autumn vibey reads. So I'm quite proud of myself that I managed to do that. The other 2 are definitely not suitable for autumn, but do I care? No. And I really hope that I can put on this trend from August and September and just finish my whole TBR, because that's apparently a thing now. So definitely going to try that. Let's go through these books. So the first book that I hope to finish in October is Italiaans for Beginners. I forgot the English title. I will talk about it when I actually read the book. I started that one in September already, so it's not on my TBR, but that's the first one I need to finish. That's a summery read, a summer romance kind of read. So that doesn't fit the vibe, so I'm happy it's not in this TBR video, but I do need to finish that one. It is a quick read, although it does have quite some pages. And after that I'm continuing with something that also feels a little bit summery still. And that is Tegen, Weten by Charlotte DeMonchy. And she is actually a Dutch author, although it really sounds French, but I think that is on purpose. And she has feel-good romance. Well, I'm usually not the kind of person to like feel-good romance novels. So I'm quite surprised that I'm reading this, but it was on a list of the book club that I follow. So there's this book club and I follow all the reads they do and I just read them as well, because I feel I am, because of them, more up to date on the newer titles. They usually read YA fantasy, so a lot of those books like Serpent and Dove, The Cruel Prince, A Court of Thorns and Roses, all those books I've read because I follow them. And in that way I don't have to choose between all the millions of books myself which ones I'm going to give a try. Because if I would only choose myself, I would have a lot in the same genre, and I just like that I now let other people decide for me. But sometimes there come some books across that I'm like, what is this? And I would have never picked them up myself, but that is funny. So this is a feel-good romance, my first one by the author, although this book club has read more of her books, so I'm probably going to read more. And it is about a girl that's working at a publisher. She takes on the job to try to get a former boy band famous rock star member to actually give her some information for a book. And we will see if this will work out. The title translates to Despite Knowing Better. And I am very curious if this might be for me. Because if that is the case, she already wrote 5 other books before this one. And I think she wrote 5 more since. So then I would have like a new pile of gold to get through. So next we have the books that are actually fit for autumn. Well, there's one in between, but we won't mention it now. The first book that is really for autumn is Midnight's Children by Salman Rushdie. With this book club, I have another book club. We read novels from authors from different countries all the time. And Salman Rushdie was of course in the news because he was attacked for his other book, the Demon Verses or the Satan's Verses or something like that. I don't know what the book is called in English. I just know how it's called in Dutch. But of course that was why he was still in our mind. And then we found out that we hadn't read a book from an author from India yet. So we decided to go with him, but then read his most awarded book, and that is Midnight's Children. His other books are like around 300 pages and this one is 700. So that is a little bit of a shame. But it actually says winner of the Booker of the Bookers. So the Pulitzer Booker Prize, there are a lot of very famous books that won that prize. And this one won like, okay, but if we choose between all the books that won this prize, which one is the actually very, very best, then it's supposedly this one. I know nothing about it except for that it is, it feels a little bit like fantasy and magical realism. And I actually don't want to know more. I have very, very big expectations of this. I hope I'm going to love this because there are quite some classics that I do think are incredible and I can really enjoy them. So having like the best from the best in my hands feels kind of scary. But I am really excited for this one. And even though it's 700 pages, I'm still very excited that this is in my October TBR at the moment. The next one is the book that doesn't really fit the autumn vibe. But listen, I just like classics. And there is this series, publications from the publisher Blossom Books in the Netherlands that does not retellings but retranslations, so easy translations to Dutch from very famous classics. And they have very beautiful illustrated editions and cloth-bound covers. And of course I collect them all. There are like 7 now. We have Romeo and Juliet, Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Dickens' A Christmas Carol, Inferno from the Divine Comedy, Pride and Prejudice, and Sorrow. Those are the 7. So as I said, quite a very famous classics. And I read the first 3, I own the first 5, so I thought it is time for number 4. And if you paid attention, you know that is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And it is not Christmas yet, but I need to get used to that it's getting colder again. So I need to remind myself that there are also positive things about getting colder. And one of those things is Christmas. And apart from that, we have this very, very beautiful illustrations, this very beautiful cloth-bound edition. I just thought it was time to read this. And this only has 110 pages. So together with Midnight's Children, on average we have 2 normal books. So I thought that would be perfect. Even though it's not the right season yet. Who cares? I just need to read this. Then we have 3 more actually Halloween vibey books. The first one is a review copy that I do not yet own. And it was postponed, but it will still come out in October, is the new prediction. And it's called Oktober Koning, so that translates to October King, by Pamela Sharon. So perfect for October, obviously. It is a review copy. It's the last one from this publisher that I will get, that I need to review within 2 weeks instead of 2 months. So that is always a little bit stressful. I didn't like that. I like that they're now going to 2 months. That's a lot better. But I need to post my review on the 31st of October, actually Halloween. Or maybe I got to the 29th. I don't really remember, but at the end of October, and I will probably get the book around the 10th or 11th. So I do have 2 full weeks, a little bit more even, to read this, and it's not that big. I read one other book by Pamela, Sharon, De Geur van Groen. I read it recently and I really liked it. So I hope I'm also really going to like this one. I don't know what's it about. I know it's kind of a Halloween-y read. It's called Oktober King. It's perfect for October. Excited for it. So I hope it will arrive in time and that I will be able to read it then. Afterwards, I will read a thriller that I have been anticipating forever. It was like on top of my TBR forever, but just below the absolute top. So every time I needed to choose a book, it was not there. But always I recommended it to all my book clubs. And always it became second. But now finally we were choosing a book that would be perfect for October, a thriller maybe. And it was finally voted first. And that is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. And this book is about a murder on this person, Evelyn Hardcastle. And this investigator wakes up every time in a different body of a person that has something to do with the murder, maybe. They're all in the same house. It's like a closed environment. Who's done it? Must be one of them, and he wakes up every time in another body, and as long as he doesn't solve the murder, he will never wake in his own body. He will always wake in someone else's body or something like that. It just sounds so creepy and so cool, and I hope I love this. I hope I love this. I actually do. I also find it so funny that it's called The 7.5 Deaths, because the title was first The 7 Deaths, but in the United States they didn't allow it because it was too close to The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which is one of my favorite books. But it was pure coincidence that they were published around the same time and had such a similar title. So I find it very funny, and I am looking forward to being able to talk about both of the books. It really gives me a lot of Cluedo vibes. Like, all these things have different murder weapons, poison, a feather, and all these pieces, a cocktail, a book, a mask. I'm just so excited. I think I will love this book. It's a 5-star prediction for me for sure. And another 5-star prediction that has been on my list forever. I got it 2 years ago from a friend, and she was like, "You're the only person that haven't read this, and you need to, so read it now." And we're 2 years further away. I'm so sorry. I'm so bad at this. But yeah, it was also in my 5-star prediction video, so I'm glad I'm reading it this year. And I'm actually buddy reading it in October, so I cannot skip on it. I need to read it in October and talk about it with a friend. And that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by Schwab. After reading A Darker Shade of Magic by Schwab, I immediately announced Schwab to be one of my favorite authors, because I love that book so much. Then I read Gallant and I didn't like that book, so now I'm like, oh, maybe she's not my favorite author ever. So I'm really curious what I might think about The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This book has separated the book community. People either think this is the most amazing book ever and definitely V. Schwab's best work, or people are like, no, this was so stupid, I hate this book. Why is this ever written? So I really hope I'm going to adore this book. I really hope so. I'm buddy reading it, but that friend already read it once and she's in a reading slump and she wants to get out of it. And because of that, she needed to reread a favorite. And she was also like, okay, if we buddy read it, then I feel the pressure to read it. But if it's a favorite as well, then I also know that I'm going to love it. So it will probably get me out of a slump. So at least she really likes it. And we have quite a similar taste. So really looking forward to reading this. And it really fits October as well, I think. So that was actually it. I really hope you liked this video. Let me know in the comments down below what you are going to read in October. I really hope I can finish all these 6 books that I just mentioned, plus the book that I'm currently reading. That would be great. because I'm looking forward so much to all of these books. Let me know if you've read any of these. That went well, nothing broke. Let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought of them. And I really hope you liked it, and I will see you. And I'm so out of character. I am completely lost since this happened. But if you subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell, you will be notified whenever I post a new video. I hope you'll have a lovely day filled with books, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye! If I keep reading this many books, it's going to be an awesome reading wrap-up year. It's like, I can't wait to make the video with all the books that I've read this year, because there are so many.